Are you an idiot? Well, you're in good company. There are about 8 billion idiots on this planet, and that number grows every day. Don't be the guy or gal that says, "I'm not an idiot," because that makes you the biggest idiot of all. We all have our moments of brilliance and our moments of idiocy. Embrace it, folks. Don't be ashamed. Without those idiot moments, we would never be able to appreciate our brilliance. Welcome to I Love My Idiot, a podcast about the idiots we love, the idiots we loathe, and the idiots we can't seem to avoid. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Visit our website at ilovemyidiot.com.
Welcome to episode 6 of I Love My Idiot.
We are just cruising along.
We really are. I mean, I never thought we would be 6 episodes deep. And I don't know if you remember this, but in our first episode, I said that we'd be lucky to have tens of listeners. We officially have 847 followers.
Yeah, that is awesome. And thank you guys for joining the idiot family. I would like to have a quick shout out to one particular idiot out there. This Joel Nert guy again. He sent us another message. This one was in response to something we said in maybe episode 3. Do you remember when we were talking about how we helped domesticate one another?
I do remember that.
Well, he sent us an email that said, domesticate, more like demasculate. Clyde, I expect Val Kilmer to resurface on your voicemail.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I have a surprise for you.
Please leave your message for Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer's back, baby! You're welcome, Joel Nert.
Joel Nert.
He seems like a pretty cool guy.
I feel like this guy's got it out for me. First of all, he tells me that pine coning's not real. Second, he's telling me that I'm demasculating you. I mean, this guy's got a real bone to pick with Rosie. That's all I gotta say.
He just seems like a good guy.
We love all of our listeners. All right, the main topic that we're going to discuss today is our first jobs. And it's interesting because I was doing some research today and found 65% of people say their first job was in retail or customer service.
Now that means 65% of people are just unhappy. Have you ever seen a happy person inside retail?
No, and I worked retail for a long time, so I get it. I get it. That is a tough job. You're dealing with people and their issues, and very rarely do you meet a customer that's just super happy about their experience spending their money.
As a customer, I try to be understanding because I also have worked a retail job. Mm-hmm. Mine was in a tool shop, which honestly, I was never treated as poorly by a customer as I was by my own boss, who just thought I was the biggest freaking moron in the world.
Yeah.
My boss clearly had dreams in life, and they did not involve working at a tool shop, employing a whole bunch of minimum wage, fresh out of high school kids. So he felt like it was his right just to treat us all like garbage. So
trust me, that's every person's first job. It's no wonder that the survey also said that people in their first jobs are very miserable. In fact, they're more miserable in their first jobs than they are in their final careers where they end their employment.
Oh, absolutely. And usually those first jobs suck, right? No one is finding their career, at least if they, have aspirations. No one's finding their career when they're in their first job at 16, 17.
Though, we have a pretty good friend who started out in McDonald's. He's been working at McDonald's for like 25 years now and makes a shit ton of money. So, I mean, you can start out in those jobs and remain in those jobs and work your way up into leadership positions where, you're running the place.
Yeah, and we will not reveal his name because I don't want to get him fired when I reveal the fact that he just used to give me chicken nuggets for free when I would go in. But I did have an experience today where I ran in to someone who was pretty shitty at customer service.
Oh my gosh.
You want to guess what store this happened at?
Target. I hate that store.
No. I've always found
I've
employees...
never had great customer service
Seriously?
at Target.
I always feel like they're a little happier there than... That's funny. No.
Yeah, you and I have very different experiences at Target.
Yeah, you know what I think it is, actually? You didn't grow up with Target.
No, The first time I ever went into a Target was when I met you 14 years ago.
Yeah, and I said, we're going in this store. You said it's like Walmart, but a little overpriced.
Exactly. I have a real vendetta over it.
And you know what? You're willing to pay a little extra to avoid the assholes that work at Walmart.
The Target people are nice. Overall, they are more friendly than the Walmart customer service. So I'm guessing that today's experience for you happened at Walmart.
Yes. As you know, I bought a package of socks a couple days ago. Those socks, I know you criticized me for buying the socks in the first place, but they are special to me.
Who buys Muppet socks?
I buy Muppet socks.
Because you're such an idiot.
You know what? I'm like a big kid, all right?
And now you have like every color, so you can color coordinate with whatever color shirt you're wearing.
I know. You notice I got my green shirt on today and my Kermit the Frog socks?
Trust me, we all noticed, Clyde.
It's beautiful. There's nothing quite better than wearing Muppet socks with shorts. I'm just saying. So everyone can see, like...
Except for when they're tall socks and you're wearing sandals with it. You're like such a dad now. Seriously, you're actually following in the footsteps of Papa November. Like, those are the kinds of things he does that we used to make fun of him about, and now you're that guy.
My father is a good man. All right, so I got this package of socks. I was so excited, but you know who my favorite Muppet is.
Right, it's Gonzo.
Gonzo. I love Gonzo. He's hilarious. The blue character, weird shaped nose. He's always been my favorite character, dating back to, like, you know, the 80s.
Yeah, he's my least favorite because I dated a guy with a Gonzo nose once.
When I got the package of socks home, I dig into them very excitedly. I throw on the first pair that I was excited to wear. I was actually wearing a blue shirt that day, so I thought I'm going to slap these Gonzo socks on. And the second I put them on, something does not feel right.
Oh, I hate that when you put a pair of socks on and like a stitch is out of place or something.
Yeah, or like, have you ever put a sock on and like your toe snags like I don't know what to call it, but like a loose thread, and then like it ends up cutting off circulation.
That's the worst. And you put your shoe on anyways, thinking, can I deal with this all day?
Yeah, or
only to find yourself ripping your shoe off in the car before you go into your workplace to fix it.
I've had it where I don't notice it until my toe starts to turn purple. So then I spend the next several hours of the day trying to figure out, when am I going to be able to take my shoe off at work? So,
oh my gosh.
The pair of socks did not feel right. So I looked at it. There was something wrong with the seam in the end of the sock, in the toe of the sock. The underside of the sock had like curled up and got sewn in with the seam in the toe.
Yeah, that's definitely unwearable.
Extremely unwearable. And for a few minutes, I was like, I'm going to see if I can just deal with it. I can't. No.
Okay.
You can't have uncomfortable feet. I decided, you know, I'm going to take these socks back. Now, the other 4 pairs were in excellent condition. So no worries there, right? So I go back to Walmart and I walk up to the customer service desk. I set the socks on the table, and the lady working there, which, by the way, when I say lady, she was like 23 years old.
Dude, this is probably her first job.
It could be.
She's part of that 65%.
But this lady was grouchy, and she's way too young to be as grouchy as she was.
She doesn't have enough life experience to justify her grouchiness.
And she also looked at me like I was an idiot for wearing Gonzo socks or buying Gonzo socks in the first place.
I'm sorry, but I would also look at you like that. When you're almost 40, you should not wear Muppet socks anymore. I'm just saying.
I totally disagree with you. So I tell her there's a problem with this pair of socks. So I show her. And again, she looks at me like I'm an idiot. Like she was thinking, I can barely even notice that this sewing mistake happened. She tells me, you know what? We probably don't even have this pair of socks because every Walmart has a little bit of different stuff. And I said, well, I'm going to go find the pair of socks. And she said, okay, if you find them, I guess I can replace them for you. So I run to the aisle. I find the 5-pack of socks, and I go back up and set the 5-pack down in front of her. And she said, oh, I didn't realize it was a 5-pack. And I said, yeah, but I only need the Gonzo socks out of there. And she said, well, this is unacceptable. I cannot exchange just one pair of socks if it comes in a 5-pack. Look, lady, I'm an experienced shopper. You mentioned I'm almost 40. I've been... This is not my first rodeo, okay? I say, look, you take the pair of socks I need out of the package, and then you put the crappy pair back in the package, and you send the package back to the manufacturer. This is not that complicated. Why are we still having this conversation? She's like, I will not ruin a good package of socks because of one pair that you had.
Oh my gosh.
So she tells me, you need to go home. You need to collect all 5 pairs of socks and the packaging, which I threw away before garbage day. And then I will exchange them for the socks that aren't defective. It would cost me more in gas to drive home and drive back than it would to just buy the whole new package of socks. When I said that comment, the lady's like, well, fine. Just buy the package of socks. And I said, fine, I will. Ring me up. So she rings me up. It's $6. I take the package of socks.
I tell you what, you can't find a package of socks for $6 at Target. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but I would have never had to deal with this lady at Target. So I grab that package of socks and then I storm out of the store. Mm-hmm. And once I'm out in the parking lot, I yank the Gonzo socks out that I need. And then I shove the defective socks back in. I took a quick picture of it. I put it on our Instagram. If anyone wants to see how obvious it is not the original pair of socks, it's up there for the world to see.
Oh my gosh.
And then I stormed right back in, went back to the same exact lady, set the socks down, slammed the receipt on the counter and said, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't think I want to buy this pair of socks. And she's looking at the package, focusing on the Gonzo pair of socks, which is clearly not the one she just sold me. And I can just see her fuming. Yeah. She doesn't say anything, but she does that thing where she starts to grit her teeth.
Oh my gosh.
And like the muscle in her forehead starts flexing as she's like ringing this back in.
Wow.
That was,
She was trying her hardest to have good customer service for you in that moment, but she just had it for her day.
I did this with our 3 children watching.
Oh, great.
They are learning from watching their father perform his greatest masterpiece.
Oh,
I felt like that was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, I knew about the Gonzo socks, and then instantly you sent me that picture that we posted on Instagram saying in the caption, I won.
I did win.
I had no idea what you meant until this very moment.
What were you thinking? That I just went and bought a new pair of socks?
Yeah, I was like, cool, he got a new package of socks. Like, he's winning.
You're like,
today.
Great, now we have 10 Muppet socks instead of 5.
Exactly, that's what I thought, but this is way better.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Now that you're done telling that story, let's get into our first jobs. What was your first job, Clyde?
Yes. Now, there's 2 different types of first jobs, and I think most people will know what I'm talking about. There's your first job that the government knows about, and then there's your first job.
That is so true.
Because if you're not a lazy kid, chances are you had a first job that you never paid taxes on.
Yeah, exactly. The government never knew about that job.
My first job came when I was in 1st grade. My sister and I would go down to the little duck pond that was on the golf course. Mm-hmm. We would go swimming in the duck pond, getting chased by geese and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And we would find golf balls, take them home, clean them. Basically, we were reselling their own golf balls back to them.
So when you were finding these golf balls, did you know which ones were worth more than others, or did you just sell them all for the same price?
Well, pretty much if the ball had damage, it was 25 cents. Mm-hmm. If it was so dirty that we couldn't get it 100% clean, it was 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that just looked really good, we sold for 75 cents.
Wow.
So some of those balls we were selling were probably worth like $5 or $6.
Some of those balls can get pretty pricey.
Oh, absolutely. And then we would also bring a cooler of lemonade, sell some lemonade for 50 cents a cup to the golfers. We lived right across the street from the 8th hole. So that was the perfect place for selling lemonade because by the time they got to us, they'd already golfed 7 holes. They were thirsty. They were tired. So it was a pretty lucrative business I had running.
My first job was also around the first grade, but we lived in a trailer park. And so when my dad would go to work, we'd take his beer out of the fridge and we sell it.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
To the other residents of the...
That is so illegal. Imagine if like a 6-year-old knocked on my door and tried to sell me beer. Number 1, I would take the beer from them. Number 2, I would scold their parents.
The thing is there was a guy named Owen who lived on the end. He always was ready to purchase my dad's beer. And we sold it to him for a lot of money. Owen didn't have a vehicle that ran. So in order to get a beer, the guy had to walk miles and miles.
Oh my gosh. So he was dependent on little Rosie bringing the beer.
We sold it to him for $3 a can. I mean, that seemed like an appropriate price. Oftentimes he paid in coin.
When you're a kid, you don't care how people pay. Like pennies are just as valuable as dollars.
Sometimes more valuable because when you roll them, you get more rolls, you know?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I would prefer quarters when I was little because I could use those at the quarter machines when you go to the grocery store or a gas station.
When I was about 7 years old, we moved, and my parents actually bought a chunk of land. They actually moved our trailer from the trailer park and plopped it on this chunk of land. I was actually very sad because I wasn't sure who was going to sell beer to poor Owen at the end of the street.
I'm sure he was pretty sad you were leaving too.
My dad was the happiest of all because then he no longer questioned why some of his beer kept coming up missing.
Yeah, he probably assumed your mom was just drinking while he was at work all the time.
A likely story.
He's like, the woman loves my beer.
So my first actual job that was over the table.
That the government knew about, let's say.
Yes, that I paid taxes on, was working for a pizza place, which ironically is exactly what your first job was too.
That's right. And I worked for a big national chain. Yours was a little bit different than that.
Yes, mine was just a mom and pop shop owned by 2 owners and had 3 employees. So very small team, very small pizza place.
That's interesting. Now, for me, they had a system down where they had drivers, they had cooks. I want to say cooks and not chefs because, let's face it, there were no chefs there. They had...
Chef is a real generous term that pizza places like to use.
One of the guys that worked there, he said, yeah, I'm a chef. And I'm like, no, a chef implies you know what you're doing. All you're doing is taking the little frozen pellets of dough that they provide because being part of a national chain, you don't use real dough. You just use the frozen pellets that they send to you from the corporate office. They kind of remind me of like clay pigeons if you've ever been shotgun shooting.
Well, at my pizza place, we actually made the dough and we'd make it in these gigantic vats.
Homemade dough? There's a novel idea. What about for deliveries? Did you guys have company cars?
We didn't have company cars. And so when you delivered pizza, you basically had to put this magnetic thing on the roof of your car and then it plugged into your dash. One day I was driving down the freeway to deliver this pizza and that sucker just flew off. And the cord was like and slammed through my window. It kind of like chipped my window a little bit because it was like It was the craziest thing. And so then I got back to the pizza place. The guy who owned it was like, where's our sign for the car? And I said, I don't know, somewhere, on the freeway. And he said, well, you have to go get it. That's cost us $200 for that sign. And I was like, I'm not going and getting it.
For $200, you think they would have upgraded the magnets a little.
Yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous.
Exactly. So you know what we did? At like 10 p.m. at night, me and the owner's son were driving down the freeway looking for the sign.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
We actually found it. And when we plugged it in, it still worked.
That is a happy ending to that story.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things that, like, in your first sort of restaurant job that you really have to worry about that I don't think I've ever worried about those things again in any professional career that I've ever had. Like, first of all, you're always sort of afraid that you're going to lose your job because you're so replaceable. Like, they know a million people who can make pizza, And so I always felt this sense of insecurity in my employment because being owned by a moody business owner, he threatened to fire me at least twice a week.
That's interesting because I always hoped to lose that job. I was like, if they took initiative and fired me, I could go find a real job.
For you, considering it was a large chain, I'm sure you had policies and procedures. They probably didn't just terminate people willy-nilly.
Well, I mean, there may have been hoops to jump through, but they did fire Andrew.
Oh my gosh, why did Andrew get fired from the big chain pizza place?
I'm not 100% sure he wants me to tell this story. Andrew was kind of a victim of a fellow employee that was looking to get people fired. This girl was drama. Someone ate a slice of his pizza and then said, oh, I didn't realize it was your pizza, and tried to give it back to Andrew. And Andrew said, I don't want your sloppy seconds.
Oh.
Well, this girl overheard him say sloppy seconds, and she went and told the boss, claiming Andrew had been inappropriate. It was his word versus her word. While I agree that it's probably not the best to say sloppy seconds at work, the context in which he said it did not warrant him getting fired in my mind. And
Poor Andrew.
I know. And he hasn't had a job since until he started working for us. No, that's a joke.
I can't wait to talk to Andrew about what it's like working for us. I wonder if we're good employers.
I think we are.
Yeah.
But I guess, there's only one way to find out. We're going to have Andrew on in a little bit. So we'll get to find out all about it from his perspective.
So when you worked at a pizza place, did you ever have a customer ask you to cook something that they brought from home? This sort of thing happened in my small town.
I can't say I did.
This one time, this guy brought a steelhead that he had just caught
down in the river.
In the river.
Oh my gosh.
And basically said, can you by chance fillet this and put it on my pizza? And I was like, heck no. Like, we don't cook food that wasn't purchased by us.
That's hilarious.
It's difference, I think, from a small...
I could totally see him storming out with his steelhead like, well, you just lost a customer.
Yeah, he was not happy. He never returned. Did you ever have anybody ask you if you recently changed your gloves while that you were cooking food?
Now, I was not a chef.
Okay.
So that's a no.
Yeah, well, I was. Sometimes you get people who would ask, like, are you going to wear those same gloves that you just touched a register with to cook my pizza? And I'd be like, of course I won't.
Well, I pretty much stopped eating the food at my own restaurant when I went to the bathroom. And the shift manager, who was kind of like the lead cook, this was the guy that claimed he was a chef, not a cook. He was in the bathroom destroying it.
Oh my gosh.
And then he walked out of the stall, looked at me, and said, hey, Clyde, and then just walked out of the bathroom without washing his hands.
He ignored the sign that every restaurant has?
That little sign that says all employees must wash their hands. In fact, when I was done, I washed my hands twice because I felt so dirty just watching him.
You're like, I will never eat here again, especially if he's cooking. Did you ever have anybody eat the food before paying, and when they paid, their credit card was declined?
I believe at our restaurant, you had to pay prior.
At ours, you paid at the end. It was always really awkward for me to be like, ma'am, your credit card has been declined. Can you by chance give me other forms of payment?
Did you ever have people get overly confrontational? Like
Yes.
it's your fault?
Yeah, like run it again.
Like, I know there's money in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And back then, I wasn't nearly as bold as I am today. And I was kind of shy back then. And so it was just terrifying to me to require a customer to be inconvenienced by their credit card declining. But of course, it was my fault all the time. Many times, I mean, you sort of lost out on the money because they wouldn't have any money on them. They'd say, oh, we'll come back. They never came back.
You'd never see them again.
No. Did you ever have anybody claim that the food was too hot and burned them?
Yes. And I wanted to say to them, yeah, you see that thing rising up called steam? Yeah, pay attention to your
Blow
food.
on your food. Did you ever have somebody refuse to be seated near the oven for fear of gluten? We had this lady in our town that was allergic to gluten. Apparently, coming from the kitchen and the oven area was flour because we're a freaking pizza place.
Stop going to a pizza place if you're allergic to flour.
So that never happened to you?
No.
Did you ever have a customer ask you for things that weren't on the menu?
No. See, that's the thing about being a national chain is I feel like the customer experience is more normalized.
Well, it's funny. One of the meanest customer interactions I ever had was over a lady who wanted portobello mushrooms on her pizza instead of regular mushrooms. Did you ever get sexually harassed when you worked in a pizza place?
Every day, baby. Yeah, I mean, I did work with Andrew.
Yeah, that was a pretty common thing for me, which surprised me because this is a very public work environment. Yeah, I mean, there were times where I got like slapped on the ass, cooing and gawing, and all kinds of inappropriate conversations about me. Yeah.
Well, I
think that's pretty common in the restaurant field, especially for women.
That reminds me, though, about a week ago, I was out to lunch. I was squeezing a lemon into my tea, and the peel of the lemon was a little slippery. And it flung out of my hands, hit the waitress in the face. I felt awful. And I say to the waitress, does this make me the worst customer you've ever had? She replied, as long as you don't wait at my car for me after work, you're not the worst customer I've ever had. There are some creeps out there.
Did you ever have to bus tables?
I did.
Yeah. So did you ever have people like leave gum on the table or
on
the plate or under the table?
I would find all kinds of disgusting stuff. The thing I would hate is if you were working a Friday night, high schoolers would come in after like high school football games or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would just be obnoxious. They would put napkins all over the table and then pour soda on top.
The customer's always right.
Not that customer. That customer was wrong. Don't do that.
I know, but you're not really allowed to like tell a customer to knock it off. I mean, unless it's super belligerent, I guess. In that case, I mean, I think you should be able to.
Well, we would never catch them in the act. It wasn't until I would go out to clean it.
I'm a germ freak, so that was always really tough for me when I'd be cleaning tables because I'd always clean the tops and underneath. And when I would find like a fresh, sticky piece of gum, it was like very few things worse than sticking your hand in somebody else's gum. The worst part is that one time when we took Rex out when he was little and he just started randomly chewing gum. And I was like, where did you get gum? And he's like, the restaurant.
Not a lot of flavor left in already chewed gum, I'm assuming. I don't know what joy he got out of it.
For one, if you're a human who sticks your gum under the table, I'm guessing you're not a super quality human. Did you ever have people who didn't want to leave the restaurant at closing time?
You know the idiot that walks in 3 minutes before close?
Yeah.
And like you've already started shutting down the kitchen and then they walk in and you're like, no! Which a lot of times when that happens, if you say, hey, we're closing, they'll be like, okay. But every now and then you get that jerk that looks at his watch and is like, it's 10:57. You're like, yeah, exactly. If you're rounding to 11, we're closed.
I know. There have been times where I was like trying to shuffle people out, but we start doing really obnoxious things like vacuuming right in front of them or like asking them to lift their feet so we can vacuum underneath them and, you know, really cleaning off the table, making sure that it was very clear that they were no longer
lifting their
welcome.
Plate to scrub underneath.
It's like, you're done here now, please. For sure.
Would you like a box with that? They're like, we haven't even got our food yet.
I tell you what, I worked in a couple of different restaurants and the pizza place tipped the absolute worst.
Yeah, I never really made great money. The best tip I ever received was on a pizza that was over an hour late. The oven worked on like a conveyor belt system, so when the pizza came out, the cook wasn't paying attention and never pulled it off the conveyor belt. So when it gets to the end, it just stops.
Oh, no.
But it keeps getting cooked. And basically, by the time he got back from his smoke break, the pizza was black. Anyway, so when they recooked that pizza, none of the drivers wanted to be the one to take that pizza because it was already like 15 minutes late. So I come back from a delivery and I see this pizza sitting there ready to go. We had a computer system where it would show who the next driver was supposed to be. And I just clocked back in. So I'm like the fourth driver on the list. The number one driver on the list is Andrew. And I said, hey, Andrew, this pizza's ready to go. And Andrew said, I'm not taking that one. Look at the time. And I looked at the time. By this point, it's like 20, 30 minutes late.
Oh, no.
I was like, holy cow, that pizza's late. You got to take it. He's like, no way, that customer's going to yell at me. He's not going to tip.
Gosh.
I'm not taking that one. And I was like, dude. So I turned to the next guy. He says the same. I'm not taking that one. So finally, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll take the pizza. And I went to the manager and I said, hey, this pizza is going to be over an hour late. What do you want me to say when the guy starts yelling at me?
Yeah.
And he's like, just give the pizza to him. So I go out there. And I said, I am so sorry that your pizza's late. I was instructed to just give this to you. He had the $15 for the pizza plus a $10 tip.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, thanks. I guess you can just keep this whole thing as a tip then. And he gives me all $25.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And like, I felt guilty about it because I'm like, dude, your pizza was an hour late. Yet you are the most friendly human in the entire world. So I go back to the store. I walk in. Andrew's sitting there snickering at me, and he's like, "Did you get your ass chewed?" I'm like, yeah, I don't remember how that interaction went.
Oh my gosh. What's the weirdest place you ever had to deliver a pizza to?
Oh my gosh. I actually have nightmares from this. In fact, before this very moment with you asking this question, I forgot this existed. There was this really creepy part of town. So I go to
Denver's got some creepy parts of town.
Oh, every city does, right? So whatever city you live in, picture the sleaziest part of town. That's where I'm delivering to. Not a street light on. And I cannot see any addresses because the mailboxes don't have house numbers on them. So I am driving up and down this street. I finally stopped between like 5 or 6 houses and I just got out with the pizza and I was running from house to house just trying to look for the house number. And I finally found the house number, except there are absolutely no lights on inside the house. And I'm like, what the heck? So I walk up to the door and I knock on the door. And right after I knock on the door, I realize that little window, you know how most front doors have like that window right next to it? There's no glass in the window.
Oh my gosh.
And so soon someone comes to the door, doesn't even open the door. They just stick their head through the window and said, what do you want? And they never turned a light on or anything. Like, I don't even think this house like had power.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, did someone order pizza? And they said, no one ordered pizza here. And I said, oh, okay. And then I looked at the house number. I'm like, is this 444 or whatever the house number was? Yeah, this is 444, but no one ordered pizza. And I said, okay. So I start walking away. And then they said, oh, wait, we have a guy that lives in our shed. Why don't just walk around the back and knock on the shed. And then she tells me this secret password knock. Like, you want to do 3 quick taps and then 2 slow taps. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to get murdered.
Oh my God.
Yet for some reason, I'm a dedicated employee. I walk back there. It's like walking the green mile to my death.
Gosh.
I get back there, I do the 3 quick taps and then the 2 short taps. And this guy comes and opens the shed door. Did you order pizza? He's like, no, I didn't order pizza. He's like, it must be someone from in the house.
Oh
and I'm
gosh.
like, dude, the person in the house told me to come to the shed.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't order pizza. So I'm like, okay, I got to get out of here.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So
Yeah.
I start walking away. And then he's like, oh, wait. Did you check in the garage? I'm like, no.
All of these vagrants are just living in this
Yes.
place.
So he tells me, go in the garage. There's a broomstick. You need to grab the broomstick and knock on the ceiling.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay, now I'm really going to die. Like, they're bringing me inside their property. Yet I'm stupid enough to actually follow through.
Well, you're young, you're stupid.
Yeah, so I go in the garage. There's not a light on. So I'm feeling around and I finally find this broomstick. And I start knocking on the ceiling with this broomstick. And I hear this voice from up there. Who's down there? Did someone order pizza? And he said, yeah, I did. I'm like, okay, pizza's here. And then this was the creepy part. All of a sudden, I start hearing a drill, like he's unscrewing the floorboard. It was like, and then he like moves this floorboard and then hangs upside down from the waist out of the ceiling,
Oh my God.
holding the money. Gives me no tip. In fact, he asks for his change. It's like 1978. He gives me a 20 and
my
asks for the
gosh.
22 cents
You're
back.
like, I'll give you $1 back.
Oh, I like seriously. I wanted to just leave the pizza and run like hell. So I hand this
Oh my
pizza up
gosh.
to him. As I'm walking out of there, I'm still feeling like this is some kind of decoy. Like the guy in the shed is going to be standing out there with a machete.
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
It was the only delivery that I actually ran like hell back to my car. It literally scared me. Like, it's kind of a funny story to tell now.
Yeah.
I was literally scared. Like, I had moments where I thought they were going to kill me.
I always hated delivering to houses that had no lights on.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
The weirdest place I ever delivered a pizza to was to a train. So there was this train
It's like the boxcar children ordering a pizza.
that would come through our town like every 6 days or so. And the first time it ever happened, my boss said, okay, it's time for you to go deliver to the train. What do you mean I have to deliver to a train? So do you remember how much your first paycheck was?
$150.32.
And how much did you make per hour?
$5.15.
So I made $5.63 per hour. My first check was $267.06. Speaking of low wages, we actually have a guest.
Let's bring him in studio. Come on in, Andrew. So this is Andrew. Andrew is our sound guy. Andrew was also a groomsman in my wedding.
That's right. We love Andrew.
He has done incredible things for our show.
In
And
fact,
for our lives.
They are wearing I Love Andrew shirts right now. It's kind of awkward.
And if
We
you
do love
How much
you,
money
remember,
did you
Andrew.
spend to make those?
really, it was
Wow.
just magic marker, so nothing.
That's kind of why I'm here.
Oh, perfect.
Because you guys have hired in quotes, to do your sound.
That's right. You're our first employee.
That's true. But see here, there was never a negotiation or a W-2 filled out. So you guys can pretty much leave me high and dry if you want to.
That's true. We
You know,
could.
we talked about earlier in the episode about how some jobs the government doesn't know about. We were
Yeah.
kind of hoping for one of those types of arrangements.
Yours is more of like a bartership. I wouldn't actually call it employment
A partnership.
necessarily.
Here's some pelts for you.
Yeah, you're kind of like Seamus, an early investor, but your investment is time
Yes.
and maybe
No.
small amounts
This
of
is good.
compensation.
I demand thousands of dollars per hour.
Well, we hear that you've come here with some demands because you've been doing sound for us now for about 4 weeks.
I do have some demands. How convenient here that I have my list that I brought. First of all, I thought it'd be reasonable to ask maybe $20 an episode.
Oh, okay.
Is that-
I'm going to say absolutely not.
Dude, it's $20.
Look,
It's
when
usually 20 an hour. I'm here for like 20 hours a week.
True, but when we start
That's exaggerating.
making money, then we'll talk.
I
all
mean,
right?
I'd kind of like to propose maybe like a percentage.
Ooh, 1% of all the profits we make. And profits come after we,
Yeah.
make up all the money
Right
we put
now, that's
into
about
this.
$2.50.
So
Yeah.
like pennies of pennies,
Yes,
basically.
yeah.
Yes.
I'll take it. Done. All right. I'm
All
out of here.
right. So 1%. Okay.
That was quick.
What else do you got? Because that
Okay.
looks like a pretty long list you're holding there.
If you guys aren't willing to do money, how about free jelly beans when I visit your house?
Ooh. The kids really like those jelly beans.
Yeah. And I'm not sure that little Rosie would ever speak to you again if we happen to give you a jelly bean when you visit.
She doesn't speak to me now. She's a quiet little child.
You scare her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
You've met you, right, Andrew?
I've met me.
You know how awkward you are.
How dare you? It is true. I'm very awkward. Okay, so next demand, a beer a week.
Just one beer per
One-
week. I mean,
one
that seems
single-
reasonable.
I think I've kind of lowered that from the jelly beans. I think one beer.
We've already given you one beer
yeah.
a few weeks ago when you were at our house.
And it
I
was
said per
dragon's
week.
milk, which is not easy to find.
We're like 6 episodes deep here, and that's one beer.
Wait, so you want
Let's do
one
some math.
per episode?
Yeah, so one a week, which would be one per episode.
We'll table that one.
Yeah, we'll
Let's
take
table
it,
that
yeah,
one.
we'll
and
take
we'll
it
see.
under
We'll see.
consideration.
So, all right. So since you guys are being so unreasonable, I figured this would happen. So prepared this. I
He
prepared
knows
this.
how cheap we are.
I meditated on this for like 2 hours before I showed up. I will get my due. So, would you rather get me free Arby's once a week or give me a 20-minute foot massage?
Oh my gosh.
And you both have to have a foot each,
Oh, no.
preferably simultaneously.
I've got a real thing against both feet and Arby's.
Yeah.
Arby's smells like feet, so
They're kind of connected in that way.
Like,
Yeah.
did you not listen to the last episode that you mastered? We specifically said that we cannot eat Arby's
I don't
ever
listen
again.
to your show. I just edit it. I try to keep it on mute as much as I can. I just hit buttons.
I'm going to say a no to both of those things. Do you have a different would you rather?
Do we have to pick one?
Well, since you asked, I have at least a few.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Would you rather give me a 10-minute foot massage?
The guy loves his feet getting rubbed.
We're working this,
Really?
all right? Or suckle my earlobe for 5 seconds.
I'm going to go earlobe.
Ew.
Dude,
Gross.
At least he's indulging me.
touching someone's feet for 10 minutes?
Versus 5 seconds of
5
pain
seconds
and
of
or pleasure,
pain.
depending on how
Okay.
it goes. All right, let's move on to the next.
Can I just real quick say something about why I'm hesitant about the feet thing with Andrew?
Yeah.
When we were in high school, we went on a road trip together,
Yeah.
and the guy went in and took a shower,
Mm-hmm.
and I went in to take a shower next, and the tub was full.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, why's the tub full? And he said, oh, because I just fill up the tub and let it soak my feet. And that was his form of washing his feet. Is that still how you wash your feet?
No, and I don't even remember that, so I'm going to make a amendment during the show amendment. No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect. My reason for wanting to avoid Andrew's feet is because we're a shoe-free household, but when you visit, we specifically ask you to keep your shoes on.
Thank you for that. I'm not sure why, and now I'm offended.
Well, I imagine that Mikkel also has the keep your shoes on policy at your house for obvious reasons.
Yeah, when she's home. When she's not home, these feet are flying. So.
Although doesn't she, well, really everyone becomes nose blind to things at some point.
Is she nose blind yet to those feet?
Rosie can't smell me.
Well, she's nose blind to all
elements. I smell you, Clyde. I'm just kind enough not to tell you.
Well, hold on. So to go back to this feet in the shower/bathtub scenario. So first of all, I don't remember this. And second of all, it does sound like a good idea. And I should probably start doing it immediately.
Yeah. Well, it was your idea.
I've had enough drugs in my life that I forgot that, probably. And the prescription kind, folks. Not.
What's your drug of choice?
Oh. Come on. What's my drug of choice?
Yeah.
Recreational?
You
or
pick.
Non-recreational. Pepsid AC Complete.
Oh. That is a good choice.
Not by choice, by force. I don't want to take this.
Oh, that is a really good choice.
All right, so I got one more would you rather.
Okay.
And
then we have to pick a way to compensate you. Do Clyde and I get to respond with what we're willing to offer?
You guys can, offer whatever you're willing. Okay, last one then. This one's got to get you guys. I don't know what else to do at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to just leave, but would you rather let me rename your firstborn son or sacrifice a goat in my name to appease the gods? What's so funny about this? I need my pay.
Well,
you invited me onto your show and you laugh at my demands.
Considering that I would never kill a goat.
Now, Rex has had his name for 10 years. So he's a little late in life to change his name, but just out of curiosity, what would you want to change his name to?
Yeah.
Steggy?
Yeah, I'm going to have to decline both of those. What kind of employers are Clyde and I? Like, are we good employers?
I think
other than
the evidence shows for itself.
Other than you're dissatisfied with compensation, but I want to ask you something. Have you been treated well?
Well, I've been treated once, and that was the one beer.
And Clyde bought you Costa Vida. I really want to know, though, like, do you like working for Clyde and I? So if we can come up with at some point
I'm starting to question, like...
I know, but if we can come up with a compromise in your compensation, like, would you like to remain employed by us?
Yes.
Okay. Just curious.
I didn't mean for that to sound like a question.
I just want to make sure that you're being, treated fairly other than compensation.
I'm being treated kindly, but that's probably because I'm a free slave worker.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Well, there's a reason we didn't have you fill out a W-4. I'm just saying. Yeah, you're not technically employed.
So what's your would you rathers?
All right. I would be willing to compensate you in time with your baby so that you and Mikkel can go out.
Time with the baby. I'm pretty attached to that baby.
Everybody needs a babysitter from time to time.
The answer is no.
If anybody was to offer Clyde and I an hour alone together where they would watch all three of our children, we would for sure take them up on that offer.
Yeah, I don't know.
What if we washed your car once a week?
I like it dirty.
You would, Andrew.
The answer's no. Immediate no.
Okay, here's the thing, Andrew. What if I gave you 10 minutes alone with my miniskirt wearing mom who's now in her 50s?
There's the demand. Would you rather? 20.
We'll have to talk to Rosie's mom.
We will. We'll have to discuss that with my mom.
But I think we got a deal. So, Rosie, before we start promising mom to Andrew, why don't we just call her, see if she's awake?
I'm down for this.
All right, let's call mom.
I'm kind of a voice guy, so I'm looking forward to this. That's why I'm into audio, apparently.
Hello?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, baby.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, are you?
Yeah, are you? Did I wake you up?
Yeah, I'm okay, though.
We have a special guest on our show today. We're talking with Andrew, our sound guy.
That's right.
And he has...
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Rosie's mom. How are you?
So he's made some demands of us, and all of his demands, including sacrificing a goat, have been declined. And so we have offered him 20 minutes of you in a mini skirt.
Poor Andrew.
I am very poor at this point, which is why I'm making this demand in the first place.
He's not being compensated fairly.
I want to get some bang for my buck, so to speak.
So we have to know, would you be willing to come over, and you don't have to do anything with Andrew. In fact, the only thing he's requested is a foot massage. So would you be willing to come over in your mini skirt and massage his feet for how many minutes, Andrew?
20 minutes.
20-minute foot massage.
20-minute foot massage in a mini skirt. Are you in?
You know, I'll do the foot massage. My mini skirt days are done.
Yeah, the last time she wore a mini skirt, she got pregnant with me. It's got bad memories with that mini skirt.
Round 2, here we go.
Okay, so you would be willing to do a 20-minute foot massage, but you are unwilling to wear a mini skirt while doing it.
That is correct.
Okay.
How about a semi-mini skirt?
What about 3 inches above the knee?
6. That's my number.
No.
Still no. Okay, what would you be willing to wear? Now keep in mind, we want to keep sounding good on our podcast. So this is really important.
So I'm thinking a pair of jeans and a t-shirt.
Are they wet?
Is it a white shirt and it's wet?
No. Those days also are over.
We're getting to a fine line here.
Okay, so 20 minutes of massage time, wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Would you be willing to make those jeans capris, maybe a spaghetti strap shirt on? Like, we got to give Andrew a little something.
You want the sound to be good, right?
I'll wear my top a little low cut. How's that?
Deal. All right. We're in.
All right, thank you, Mom.
Thank you, Mom, for
Thanks for
helping us
saving
keep
the
our
show.
sound.
Yeah, save the show.
You saved the show.
Tell Andrew. I'll let him see the tip of the butterfly.
Ooh.
Oh,
Just
the
the tip,
butterfly.
huh? I like that game.
This butterfly, by the way, Andrew, is tattooed on her breast. So
What? I want to see those wings flap.
All right, dear.
Okay.
You guys have a lovely night.
Okay, we
love you.
Thank
Mom.
you for coming on and making
Thank
our
you.
dreams.
Thank you for saving the show for another week.
Aw, you're so sweet.
All right, we'll talk to you later, Mom. Well, Andrew, you got kind of what you wanted a little bit. You didn't know you wanted it in the beginning.
Never know what you have till you have it.
Yeah. But you also didn't realize you were getting butterfly. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
none of
definitely
us
had
saw
butterflies
that
in my
coming.
stomach. That's
None
for
of
sure.
us saw that coming because she sort of threw that in at the end. Like, she'd already made the deal and then she sweetened it. I'm like, Mom, you already made the deal. Like, you don't need to
I
sweeten
think it really goes to show that Mom really loves our podcast.
She really does.
And I think
Yeah.
we've all forgot that I am married as well.
Mikkel, don't worry. It's just a foot massage.
It's platonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew will not form feelings for my mom or the butterfly.
Not probably.
You have been the absolute most supportive person of our podcast. Of all of the people who are in our lives, you've been the most supportive.
No, I appreciate that. And it's been great to come onto the show and be a part of it. You know, you guys are my good friends. I'm glad I was able to be a part of helping that
Yeah.
come together.
Well, now that you've been fairly compensated for this week, well, it hasn't quite happened yet,
Right.
but Mom will,
I got to pass this through the wife first.
Yeah, Mom
so
always does what she says she's going to do, and sometimes more than you wish she would.
I'm liking this direction.
A Lannister always pays her debts.
Wait, she's a Lannister? What the?
Well, thanks for coming on the show tonight. Really appreciate you, Andrew. And we're really glad we're going to sound good for another week.
All right, thanks. I look forward to tuning in.
We've created a platform for folks to really get their opinions out about the idiots that they know.
Exactly. So here's the deal. We are trying to post different things on Facebook where you guys can get on and interact with us. Know that we read those. We
do. And we try to respond to every single one because we care about the customer service that we're providing in this podcast.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you to all of our listeners and all of those that are commenting on our posts. We really appreciate you. Every single one of you are important to us. We hope that you recommend our show to others and that you'll continue to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, visit our website at ilovemyidiot.com.
We can also be viewed from just about any podcast platform now.
That's right. We're on iHeartRadio,
Apple Podcasts,
Spreaker,
Google Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify,
CastBox. Well, thanks, guys, for listening. We hope you have a really great day. I love my idiot. I wonder if we're good employers.
I think we are.